Hello everybody, welcome to our channel MediConcept. Today we will be discussing about few facts related to hyperaldosteronism or mineralocorticoid excess syndrome. As the name suggests, this hyperaldosteronism, it simply means increased aldosterone secreted from the zona glomerulosa of the adrenal cortex. Now before going into details of this hyperaldosteronism, let us first discuss about the normal functioning of aldosterone. In our body, whenever there is decreased blood pressure, that will be sensed by the juxtaglomerular apparatus situated at the kidney, and in response to that, renin it will be secreted from the Golgi cells. So that renin it will act over the angiotensinogen. It will act over the angiotensinogen to convert it to angiotensin 1. Now this angiotensin 1 it will be released into the circulation, and while passing through the pulmonary circulation it will be acted upon by an enzyme which is known as the angiotensin converting enzyme, which will now convert the angiotensin 1 to angiotensin 2. Okay, this angiotensin 2 it will now stimulate the zona glomerulosa cells of the adrenal cortex to increase the synthesis and the release of the aldosterone. Okay, so more aldosterone it will be synthesized and secreted from the zona glomerulosa cells of the aldosterone. Now that aldosterone, what are the target cells of those aldosterone? The target cell, the main target cell of the aldosterone is the principal cell of the collecting duct of the renal tubules. Okay, so whenever there is excess the aldosterone, it will bind with its receptor which is located at the basal side of that principal cell. It increases the number of transporter or the ENaC, that is the epithelial sodium channel over the luminal side of this principal cells, so that the sodium ion it will now enter inside the cell, as well as it will increase the activity of the sodium potassium ATPase pump at the basal site, so that increased sodium ion it will now go out of the cell into the interstitial space via this sodium potassium ATPase pump, and the potassium ion will enter into the cell. This potassium ion it will be lost from the luminal side and excreted into the urine via the Rom-K channel or the potassium channel. Okay, so the potassium ion it will be excreted out of the or secreted out of the cell into the urine. Now the aldosterone also it acts over the alpha intercalated cells which are also located at the collecting duct of the renal tubule, where it increases the activity of the proton pump or the hydrogen ATPase, so that more hydrogen ion it will be secreted out of the cell. At the same time, for one ion or one hydrogen ion it is secreted out of the cell, it will also increases or induces one bicarbonate ion reabsorption from the basolateral side into the interstitial space, so that bicarbonate it will be reabsorbed into the circulation. Okay, now whenever the sodium ion it gets reabsorbed, the water it will also follow this sodium ion. So water will follow the sodium ion. So aldosterone it causes the sodium ion reabsorption, as well as it will causes increase in the fluid volume in our body. At the same time, it causes secretion and excretion of the protons of the hydrogen ion and increases the bicarbonate reabsorption. So that will cause increase in the pH or the alkalosis. Now this increased sodium ion and the water reabsorption causes or restores the blood pressure. So now the BP it will become normal. As the BP becomes normal, renin it will not be synthesized, and so also the aldosterone secretion also decreased. Normally, whenever the aldosterone secretion it is increased, it will also causes the feedback inhibition of the renin secretion. So aldosterone itself causes decrease in the renin secretion because of this feedback inhibition. Okay. Now coming to the hyperaldosteronism. The causes of hyperaldosteronism can be divided into two groups. First one is the primary hyperaldosteronism, primary, and another one is the secondary. The primary hyperaldosteronism simply means when the cause lies itself at the adrenal cortex. The most common cause of this primary hyperaldosteronism is idiopathic hyperaldosteronism, where the zona glomerulosa has increase in the aldosterone secreting cells. So the aldosterone secreting cell number is increased. Second important cause of the primary hyperaldosteronism is the Conn syndrome. Now in Conn syndrome, there is adenoma. It is the tumor. Adenoma located at the adrenal cortex, which secretes the aldosterone. So Conn syndrome, it is a type of primary hyperaldosteronism. Third important cause of primary hyperaldosteronism is the familial hyperaldosteronism. Now in familial hyperaldosteronism, there is a genetic problem and it runs in the families. Here the adrenocorticotropic hormone, or the ACTH, which is produced from the anterior pituitary, it excessively stimulates the adrenal cortex to secrete the aldosteronism. So the aldosterone level always remain much elevated in this group of patients. Okay, so this is called the familial hyperaldosteronism. Now coming to the secondary hyperaldosteronism. Now the causes of this secondary hyperaldosteronism, as the name suggests, that means the problem lies at some other organs or parts of the body other than the adrenal cortex. Important causes of secondary hyperaldosteronism like in congestive heart failure. Now what happens in congestive heart failure? The heart is failing, so less blood it is pumped by the heart, so that will cause the hypoperfusion of the tissue, including the kidney. Now the kidney, it will sense that, and so that it will increase the renin secretion, so that increased renin secretion lead to increase in the aldosterone secretion. Okay, so congestive heart failure, it is one of the cause of secondary hyperaldosteronism. Next, it may also occur in cirrhosis, and also it can occur at the nephrotic syndrome. Now in both of the cirrhosis and the nephrotic syndrome, the plasma protein content, it is decreased, so decreasing the colloidal osmotic tension of the circulation and decreasing the circulating fluid volume. Okay, so in cirrhosis, the liver can't produce much amount of the plasma protein, particularly albumin, and in nephrotic syndrome there is excessive loss of albumin in the urine. So both of these situation, there is volume, the intravascular volume depletion. So again there will be hypoperfusion of the kidney, and there will be also hypotension. So in response to that, the JG cells at the kidney, it will increase the renin secretion. Okay. Another important cause of this secondary hyperaldosteronism is renal artery stenosis. So in renal artery stenosis, suppose renal artery, if it is blocked over here, So less blood it will be going to the kidney, less blood will be going to the kidney, and the kidney it will sense that there may be decrease in the blood pressure, or that is why the hypoperfusion is there. So it will try to restore the blood pressure by increasing the renin secretion. So in such situation, this renal artery stenosis also, there will be increase in the renin secretion. One of the rare cause of the secondary hyperaldosteronism, that renin secreting tumor, which is also may called as the reninoma. It is a very rare cause, the tumor which is only secreting the renin. Some genetic mutation, the genetic mutation of the different transport channels at the renal tubule may also lead to increase in the aldosterone secretion. The two important cause you have to remember, one is the Batter syndrome and another one is the Gitelman syndrome. Okay, so one is BARTTER, Batter syndrome. Okay, in Batter syndrome there is a genetic mutation of the sodium potassium 2 chloride co-transporter, which are located at the thick ascending limb of Henle. So there will be less sodium ion, it will be reabsorbed, so that leads to the decrease in the sodium ion in our body. So hyponatremia, fluid, the volume it will be also decreased, it will lead to the hypotension, and that hypotension ultimately stimulates the renin secretion. So this is the Batter syndrome, which is due to genetic mutation at sodium potassium 2 chloride co-transporter located at the thick ascending limb of loop of Henle. And another cause, it is the Gitelman syndrome. Okay, Gitelman. Gitelman syndrome. In Gitelman syndrome, there is mutation of the sodium chloride symporter, which is located at the distal convoluted tubule. So again, in this situation also, the sodium ion it will be less absorbed, that means there will be hyponatremia, and the fluid volume it will be also decreased. So it will lead to the decrease in the blood pressure, hypotension, and it will stimulate the JG apparatus to secrete the more renin. Okay, so you can see that from this discussion that in the secondary hyperaldosteronism, it is due to the increase in the renin secretion. So it is due to increase in renin secretion, whereas in the primary hyperaldosteronism, it is not due to the increased renin secretion, but it is solely the aldosterone synthesis and the secretion from the adrenal cortex, it has been increased, right? So in both of the primary and the secondary hyperaldosteronism, aldosterone level it will be high. So aldosterone level it will be high in both of the primary and secondary hyperaldosteronism, but in primary hyperaldosteronism, that increased aldosterone level it will cause the feedback inhibition of the renin. Okay, feedback inhibition of the renin, so that the renin level it will be lowered. But in the secondary hyperaldosteronism, the main stimulus here for the aldosterone secretion, it is the renin, increased renin level. So though the aldosterone will try to suppress the renin secretion, there will be continuous secretion of the renin, that it be reflected as the increased renin level at the blood. So if you check the blood aldosterone and the renin level, for primary aldosteronism it will be increased aldosterone and decreased renin, but in case of the secondary hyperaldosteronism, the renin level it will be high and the aldosterone level will be high. So both the aldosterone and the renin level it will be high in secondary hyperaldosteronism. Now coming to the other clinical finding of this hyperaldosteronism, as the aldosterone secretion it is increased, it will causes increase in the sodium ion reabsorption, so that will produce the hypernatremia. So increased sodium in the blood, that is the hypernatremia. Okay, it increased aldosterone also causes excessive loss of potassium in urine, that will ultimately lead to the hypokalemia or decreased potassium in blood, hypokalemia, right? So as the hypernatremia or the increased sodium ion reabsorption, it is associated with the increase in the water reabsorption also, as the water osmotically it follows the sodium ion during the reabsorption process. So increased fluid volume, ultimately it will cause the produce increase in the blood pressure or the hypertension. Aldosterone also causes the loss of hydrogen or the secretion of the hydrogen ion into the renal tubular fluid, or so that it will be excreted through the urine, and also it causes a reabsorption of the bicarbonate ion. So both of these it will cause the increase in the blood pH level, so that means it will produce the alkalosis. And to be specific, it will produce the metabolic alkalosis. As the lung it is not involved here, so it will produce the metabolic alkalosis. So this hypokalemia, it will be reflected as the weakness of the muscle, okay, constipation, and it may lead to the heart rhythm changes. And this hypertension, the usual manifestation, it will be like the headache or flushing, like that. Okay, so these four features will be similar for both the primary and the secondary hyperaldosteronism, but one characteristic or the difference between the primary and the secondary aldosteronism is the presence of edema. It will not present in primary, but usually present in secondary, except these two causes. That means the genetic mutation of the transporter channels. Except these two causes, the edema usually present at the secondary hyperaldosteronism. Now why this it is absent in primary hyperaldosteronism? Now because of the escape phenomena or the pressure natriuresis that occurs, that causes the natriuresis or the loss of excess sodium ion when the aldosterone level remain high for few time. Okay, so there will be no edema in primary hyperaldosteronism, but there will be edema present at the secondary hyperaldosteronism, except the Batter syndrome and the Gitelman syndrome. So in rest of the cases there will be edema. Okay, next, what is the treatment? Now the treatment part, it is remains simple. Treatment it is we use usually the spironolactone. The spironolactone. Now spironolactone, it is a potassium sparing diuretics, and it is also an aldosterone antagonist, which blocks the aldosterone receptor over here, so that the aldosterone can't attach over its specific receptor and cause these things. So we can give the spironolactone, which is a potassium sparing aldosterone antagonist diuretics. Okay, and the second important, we can treat the exact cause of the disease. Like in case of the adenoma or the tumor, we can simply resect that tumor. Okay, and for the secondary causes, we can treat the exact cause, like for the cirrhosis or for the nephrotic syndrome or for the congestive heart failure. So this is all for the hyperaldosteronism. If you have any question, you can write it down in the comment section. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, kindly share. If you have not subscribed, kindly subscribe and press the bell button to get notified of our new uploads. Thank you.